Hello. Good morning.
Morning.
How are you?
Not bad.
Okay, so you must be Annie, right?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, Annie, can you introduce yourself a little bit, please?
Hmm. Hmm. Introduce what?
Yourself, briefly.
Uh, I'm a housewife and I have a part-time job
Mm-hmm.
and I have a son, nearly 11 years old,
Mm-hmm.
and I like reading books, watching films, and traveling.
Oh, we have the same hobby. Okay, all right. So thank you so much, Annie, for introducing yourself. Okay, so by the way, Annie, my name is Teacher Wilson, so I will be your tutor this morning. Okay, are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's start. All right. So this is our book. So you have a test of English as a foreign language. Oh, so do you plan to take a test in the future?
No, no.
Oh no. Okay, I see. All right, so you are now in lesson 34, so let's start. Okay, so TOEFL speaking. In this section, okay, so TOEFL speaking in this section of the test, you'll be able to demonstrate your ability to speak about a variety of topics. You'll answer 4 questions by speaking in the microphone. Answer each of the questions as completely as possible. Okay, so in question number 1, you will speak about your topics. Your response will be scored on your ability to speak clearly and coherently about the topics. Okay, in question 2 and 3, you will first read your text. The text will go away and you will listen to the top of the same topic. You will be asked a question about what you have read and heard. You will need to combine appropriate information from the text and the top to provide a complete answer to your question. Okay, so your response will be scored on your ability to speak clearly and coherently and your ability to capture the information about what you have read and heard. Okay, so this is very important. Okay, in question 4, you will listen to part of the conversation or lecture. You will then be asked a question about what you have heard. Your response will be scored on your ability to speak clearly and coherently on your ability to accurately convey information about what you heard. Okay, you may take notes while you are reading and while you are listening to the conversation lecture. Okay, so you may use paper and pen. Okay, all right, so listen carefully to the direction for each question. This is very important. Okay, the direction will be on the screen. So all you have to do is listen very carefully. Okay, for each question, you will be given a short time to prepare your response. A clock will show how much preparation time is remaining. When the preparation time is up, you will be told to begin your response. A clock will show how much response time is remaining. Okay, message will appear on the screen when the response time is ended. Okay, do you understand? Do you have any questions, clarifications?
No.
No. Okay, let's move here. Okay. All right, are you ready?
Yes.
Okay.
Do you agree or disagree with the following statement? Private cars should not be allowed in the city centers of large cities. Use details and examples to explain your opinion.
Okay. Do you agree or disagree with the following statements? Okay, preparations time, timer starts now. Okay, preparation ended. Now it's time for your response time. Okay, so I'm giving you 45 seconds to answer the questions. Okay, ready? Okay, response time begin
People
now.
people buy people buy their own cars just because they are very convenient when they are going outside.
Mm-hmm.
If the people they cannot drive their private car into the center of the city, then it will be very inconvenient.
Mm-hmm.
They can just buy subway or taxi. But if the weather is not very good and the subway always very crowded.
Okay, so thank you so much for answering that question. All right, private car should not be allowed in the city center or of large cities. Okay, so according to your answer, you disagree, right? Okay, disagree. So we are now in question number 2. Okay, so reading time, timer starts now. Please read.
Program to provide view tutoring. The university has announced that starting with the fall semester, free tutoring will be available to all new students for their entire first year. The academic dean, James Maxwell, commented, "The university is aware of the academic problems that many first-year students face when making the transition from high school to college. The new tutoring program," he said, "is designed to assist first-year students who want or need additional support with their academic coursework. The program will also be organized so that individual students can arrange to work with tutors majoring in their own chosen field of study."
Okay, so what is your understanding about this?
Provide free tutoring for the first year students.
Okay, so providing free tutoring to first-year student. All right, so thank you so much for sharing that. Now, let us... Oh,
It's okay.
okay. So that is providing free tutoring for first-year student. Okay, so thank you so much. Now, let us move on to listening question number 2 of 4, which is related to the lesson. Okay, so this is the number 2, audio. Okay, please listen. Tell me if you're ready.
Yes.
Now listen to two students discussing the article.
Hey, did you read about this plan?
Yeah, and I think it's a really great idea.
Why's that?
Well, a lot of new students really need this. I mean, it's not just about getting extra help with the course material. They'll probably also get information about things like taking notes or the best way to study for exams.
Yeah, I barely even knew how to do those things when I first came here.
Neither did I. So these are things most students wind up having to learn on their own at first. That's why so many of them have a hard time.
And it's probably good that they can work with somebody who has the same interests.
Right. That would be a real advantage, to get information about the classes you're going to need to take from somebody who's already taken those classes. And they could recommend professors and tell you who the best advisors in the department are. Things like that.
I see what you mean. So, new students could get access to information about the program from another student's point of view.
Exactly.
Okay. So that's it. All right. So I'm giving you 30 seconds for preparation time. Timer starts now. The woman expresses her opinion about the university's plan. Briefly summarize the plan, then state her opinion about the plan and explain the reasons she gives for holding that opinion. Okay, time's up. Okay, so I'm giving you 60 seconds for your response with this audio. Okay, timer starts now.
The woman think this is a good idea because the freshmen can get information from the other students, and also they can get extra help.
Okay.
Another reason is they can work together who has the same interest. And of course, the students can recommend professor to the freshmen.
Okay, that's all. You still have time.
That's all.
Okay, so that's all. Thank you so much for sharing your answer. Okay. And I'm giving you 45 seconds to read this one. Okay, so wait. All right, so reading time 45 seconds starts now.
The familiarity principle. People tend to develop a preference for things that they have previously encountered. Since they are familiar with social psychologists refer to this tendency as the familiarity principle. Given a choice between two similar items, one they have experienced before and another that is new, most people will choose the familiar item. This principle operates even when people are not conscious of their previous experience with an item. Once people have been exposed to an item, even if they do not recall having been exposed to it, they
Okay.
will tend to prefer that item over other items to which they have not been previously exposed.
Okay, so thank you so much for reading that again. Okay, please read this again.
Familiarity.
Okay, that is not familiarity. That is familiarity. Familiarity.
Familiarity.
Okay, familiarity.
Familiarity.
Okay, very good.
Familiarity.
Familiarity. Okay, not
Mm.
familiarity. That is familiarity. Understand?
Familiarity. Okay.
Very good. Okay, so let's move here. Okay, of course, again, we are going to listen to an audio.
Mm.
Please listen carefully. Ready? Go.
Now listen to part of a lecture on this topic in a psychology class.
Some researchers did an experiment related to this. And what they did was they assembled a group of subjects, a group of students, and they showed these students a series of geometrical shapes. These were very distinctive shapes, a little unusual, not the kind of shapes the students often see. But they only showed the students the shapes for a very short period of time, about a second. They also lowered the light in the room to make it even more difficult for the students to see the shapes. So the shapes were there for a split second in dim light, and then they were gone. In the next step of the experiment, the researchers again showed the students some shapes, but this time they gave the students a longer time to look at them. And this time they showed the images in pairs, 2 at a time. In each pair, one shape was a shape the students had already seen, for just a split second, in dim light, and the other was some other shape that hadn't been shown to them before. After presenting each pair, the researchers asked the students to say which of the 2 shapes they liked better. Most of the time, the students preferred the shape they'd already seen earlier in the experiment. Now, if you asked them if they'd already seen that shape, they probably wouldn't know for sure. But that didn't matter. They still tended to prefer the shapes they'd already seen.
Hmm? No sound.
Hello? Hello, hello, hello? Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, now.
Okay.
But I don't know why there are always 2 sounds there. I
Where?
can hear my voice.
Oh. Okay. What about this? Okay, wait. Okay, hello? Hello?
Yeah, yes, I can hear.
All right, now, are you ready for the response time?
Mm.
Okay, so response time. Okay, so I'm giving you 30 seconds for your response time. Timer starts now.
Mm. The professor using an example to illustrate the familiarity principle.
Mm-hmm.
There are two groups of students. They
Mm-hmm.
will be shown some shapes.
Mm-hmm.
One group, the one group saw the shapes in a very short time, and another one was shown the shapes in a long time. The result is the students prefer the shapes they have already learned before.
Okay, so that's it. Thank you so much for sharing your answer. Let's move to audio number 4. Okay, please listen.
Listen to part of a lecture in a biology class.
Biology class.
So, okay, we've been talking about frogs. And like all amphibians, frogs have thin skin, which means that they lose moisture through their skin easily. Now, typically, we think of frogs as living in wet environments. But for frogs who live in dry places with desert-like conditions, this can be a problem. Frogs have been able to survive in such areas by having different physical features, special dry climate features that help them maintain an adequate level of moisture in their cells and avoid drying out. Some frogs do this by preventing water loss through their skin. By creating a sort of covering over their skin, they greatly reduce their skin's exposure to the dry air. The covering acts like a barrier that locks in moisture. For example, some frogs secrete a substance through their skin, a fatty substance that they rub all over their skin using their hands and feet, which creates a waxy layer all around their bodies that's almost completely watertight. Other frogs maintain an adequate level of moisture through a different physical feature, one that allows them to store water inside their bodies for later use. A specially modified internal organ inside their bodies enables them to have a high water storage capacity. So the frogs are able to absorb and store moisture during wet, rainy times, which they can rely on to get through dry periods. The aptly named water-holding frog, for example, has a bladder that is highly elastic and stretchable. When it does rain, the frog absorbs water through its skin, and its bladder stretches to hold this extra water. The water is then slowly released from the special bladder into the frog's internal tissues until the next rain, which might not be for several months.
All right, so that's it. Now I'm giving you 20 seconds for the preparation. Okay, preparation time starts now. Okay, so that preparation time is up. Now, using points and examples from the lecture, explain 2 dry climate features of frog. Okay, your 60 seconds explanation. Our response time starts now.
The frog will create some special wax layer to maintain moisture and prevent dry out. And another one is they have high water storage.
Okay. That's all?
Mm.
You still have time. Okay, so that's all. Okay, no more? Okay, so all right. Thank you so much for sharing your answer. Okay, this is the end of the test. Okay, so would you like to know your score?